Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back to the rest of the story. So spring decided to show up early this year, and everything's a lot greener down here than what it was last year when I was spreading fertilizer. And it is the 6th of April. Yep, it's the 6th of April. I'm down here finishing up the last little bit of fertilizer I got to put down. I spread a buggy load last night, a buggy load this morning, and I'm just kind of going through. I got everything covered that I want covered, so I have either way too much or, well, I know what it is. There's parts of this farm I wasn't able to spread, as well as I would have liked, just because the bottom, I was able to spread it this year, but there's probably a quarter of it that it's soft enough. I should really know better than to try to spread it. The reason I know that is because I look back, luckily enough, we got the floaters on the buggy. I was pushing mud with the tires. That makes your heart sink just a little bit. Didn't feel it on the tractor, luckily, but if the ground was any more softer, I probably would have been stuck. I only had one instance last night, which, looking back, probably wasn't the smartest move. It was getting dark out, and that's why I decided to go down and spread on the valley, or on the bottom. But the problem is, I ran it down. I ran the buggy down until I had less than a half, just so I didn't have so much weight going out there. Because when this thing was completely full, I was actually crawling on the other farm, the other field, because they dropped the semi-trailer off, which has the self-contained motor and everything. So I just loaded the buggy by myself, and away I went. Well, obviously the first 2 loads I loaded as full as I could, and just coming down across the field, I could really feel the buggy trying to push me on the corners, and I did the outside round with the diff lock and front wheel assist locked in, and Calvin doing his best to contribute to the weight on the tires, right, buddy? And I have this farm. This is the neighbor's place. I rented this, and I do know it needed fertilizer because I went through and I did soil tests on everything last fall, and you can definitely tell on that farm how much it's greening up versus this field, because I do know, because I did it, everything over there has got the fertilizer from last year. Still kind of working on it, so I'm going through trying to get the soil built up on this place, because I'm going for quantity and to get the most money out of your product, out of your fertilizer, most bang for your buck. Ooh, wet area or soft spot. We're actually bringing up water. The tires are wet coming back around. Is actually, if you're putting down dry fertilizer, it's your first cutting, it usually gives you your most return for quantity. But then when you do your second cut, granted, I want as much second cut there as possible. And then you typically get paid better, which I do, on my second cut that I sell. But I'm also, with the cows I'm raising, I'm keeping back heifers. I got approximately 25 cows and a few steers. The numbers, I'm planning on constantly trying to increase that for the time being. I got cull cows. The cows that I bought last year, I will be culling them out. Just anything. They weren't young when I bought them, and I can see that the oldest broken mouth cow actually is getting ridden by the bull right now. So Unfortunately, the way things worked out last year, last fall, this winter, never had a chance to preg check my cows. The plan is to do it this year. I hate swearing like that, but you know, P-L-A-N. It's a swear word around here. Because the plans never go according to plan, ever. Really should get a field roller, shouldn't I? This field's getting kind of rough. I need to slow down a little bit. But this is just a hay ground. If anybody ever asked, will we ever raise row crops down here again? Absolutely no intentions at all to raise row crops down here again. Just with the soil type, and I don't know, just because it's the reason it's called the valley is because we got hills all the way around us, and the beans did all right on some parts of the field over there, but you get on the fingers and onto the ridges, and the yield just falls off, and the amount of deer pressure down here is just stupid. Not trying to sound like our OLF out east, but the deer down here, I came down 2 nights last week, and both nights I counted 22 the first night, 27 the next night. Sizable deer herd down here, and it just, at least deer can't completely mow off a hayfield, right? They can completely devastate a soybean or a corn crop. So I actually like making hay. When I took over this whole setup, the intentions from day one, the landlords and I had an understanding that this is a hay operation, this is a hay farm, and it's exactly that. I'm not trying to make a crazy amount of acres down here, a crazy amount of cuttings down here. I'm only going for 2 cuttings. The first cut, it's probably going to be looking like it's overripe, and why would I bother making it? But like I said, I'm not going for quality on the first cutting, I'm going for quantity, just because I know where this hay is going. I mean, we don't have mushroom barns, but probably really the next best thing to a mushroom barn. And I do feed my own cattle with it too. I got about 40 bales left over from last year, and that's largely contributed to the fact that we didn't get an early winter, so we really didn't start feeding bales heavy until the last week of December. So I'm looking forward to making hay this year. I mean, don't get me wrong, the way this year is actually setting up, it's really looking to be fairly enjoyable. I mean, not like we didn't enjoy last year, but it's really hard looking down towards the finish line. And at planting this time last year, we were looking at a very real possibility of $7 beans and $2 corn. And depending on how reports and all that stuff goes on, there's absolutely no guarantee that, you know, we could end up seeing something like that happen this fall again. It can spin on you so quick. So trying to market appropriately and lock in profits if you can get them. So with the 2 cuttings down here, I'm trying to utilize all of my shed space that I got, because I don't want to have to leave anything sit outside for the sun to work on it. And for those of you that are still watching from last year, previous years, but last year I lost over $10,000. I mean, easily, I lost easily $10,000 from the rain damage I got last year from getting rained on, and quality loss and yield loss, because I didn't really put it in perspective until doing hay this year was really starting to come into perspective. And looking back, I mean, I didn't have this field until midsummer, the landlord actually, he came over and stopped me while I was working on finishing up first cut over there. And this first cut on this field last year was the only field out of all of my hay that didn't get any amount of rain on it. So for how much we were down here last year trying to make hay, and I mean, it was pretty much a constant battle. Really didn't get a whole lot of premium quality hay off of it. So that's what it is to be a farmer. We're ever optimists. I mean, back me up. Anybody that's a farmer, you can't be starting every day being negative about it, because you won't make it. Like, mentally, you will not make it. You will not. So you gotta literally get up every morning, and it's gonna be better than yesterday, because Lord, we've all had days where it just, by the end of the day, you're just grateful to climb into bed. And some days you wake up knowing the day isn't going to get better until you go back to bed again that night. So they're calling for a drier year this year. I'll believe it when I see it, because I'm hearing some people that are actually saying that, yep, we're actually looking at potential drought this year, which I don't want a drought, but I would take drier weather. I just heard last night that for the next month they're calling for average to above average rainfall for the rest of this month. So I guess whatever, I'll take what we can get. This field farm is officially done, and we're about empty. So that'll be it for dry fertilizer this year. Am I going to spread any more this summer? Probably not. I actually still in the mindset of putting liquid 32% down nitrogen. Oh, bounced me out of the seat. I'm going to do liquid again. Granted, I do have some weeds down here, but not enough where I'm going to be willing to put the sprayer on the 46 and come down here and spray for weeds. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about just going and buying that liquid 60-gallon boomless sprayer for the gator, and then just come down and do some spot spraying, because this is actually an old pasture. This little, 5 acres right here. Of course, the pasture's got weeds coming up in it, and then the field that I just actually drove out of, that has probably about 2.5 acres that the weeds are pretty well taken good hold of, and I'd like to kick them in the face and knock them back so I don't have weeds in my hay, because that does affect my hay when I do sell it, if it's got a lot of weeds in it. So my hay typically never goes for top quality. Granted, don't get me wrong, I'll take top quality hay, great, like premium grass hay, but June, I made the mistake last year. I mean, in retrospect, I did. That was a mistake I made first cutting. I cut it the 30th or 31st of May. That was a big mistake. Honestly, I should have just waited till the end of the month, let it get all the growth on it that it really could. So I think I definitely shortchanged myself. And yes, I am just trying to run the buggy out now, because everything is covered. And I don't know how much you guys can really see. I know I got video footage elsewhere, but everything is really greening up nice. I'm hoping for a pretty wicked awesome hay crops this year. So the liquid, the only reason I want to do the liquid through the sprayer is because after I do first cutting, is what it does is it allows the nitrogen to get down into the soil, get into the roots quicker. as opposed to putting dry fertilizer down and needing a rain, which they're calling for a chance of rain for the rest of this week, of course. But at least the liquid, especially when you're talking July, when seasonally for this time of year, when you get into July, August, it tends to dry out or be drier typically. We haven't had a typical year here, weather year here in the last 4 years, so it'll hit us eventually. But it seems I'm getting low enough. I gotta watch what I'm doing because I don't really see the point in driving around here in circles for nothing, right? So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hate supporting my channel, or hate promoting my channel like that. I mean, I really do. So do me a favor. Until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. Talk to you later.